Well, shalom and happy new year. And from all of us at Jewish Voice, I want to thank you and let you know how much we're counting on your continued support of Israel, the land of Israel, the state of Israel, the people living in Israel, both Jew and Arab, and Jewish people, the people of Israel scattered all around the world. Your prayers and your support and really your advocacy in your churches and your congregations, in your families and your workplaces is more needed now than ever. And I want you to know that at the top of 2024, we're committing at least every other week, if not more frequently, depending on the news and the headlines, to come to you and give a little bit of commentary as we have contacts, both extended family and also friends and ministry partners in the land of Israel, in the IDF and serving Israelis all over the nation right now. Commentary on the headlines you're seeing, and also wherever we can, the headlines you're not seeing on international news or US-based news that are real issues in Israel. And I want to remind us at the outset of 2024 of what the international spokesman for the Israel Defense Force, the IDF, said in his evening address, the first one after the war broke out on the evening of October 7th, 2023. He said, as the weeks and months go on, Israel will be vilified in the news, will be made to be the bad guy, and there will be increasing pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel sentiment. And he said this, very poignant words, but I want to ask you to remember why the war started. Remember October 7th. The war started because there's a group called Hamas, which means resistance in Arabic. It means violence in Hebrew. And there's a group called Hezbollah, the people of Allah, up in the north of Israel on the Lebanese front, and others scattered throughout that region, but especially Hamas, who by its own charter document exists to wipe out the Jewish people, to drive them into the Mediterranean Sea, and to see the destruction, the ceasing of existence of Israel, of the Jewish homeland. How do you negotiate with that? You can't. And here's the key difference, folks. The IDF, and I know this because we have extended family who are in Gaza and out of Gaza back and forth right now, and the reports they're sending us are this. When the IDF is moving through Gaza, trying to identify threats, they're asking this question, and they talk to each other, they go through a discernment process, they're as careful as they can be. They're saying, is the person in front of us a terrorist? If they are, because they exist to destroy innocent human life and to capitalize upon the suffering of people in their own area, they must be eliminated, and they take action. If they're not a terrorist, if they're an innocent person, man, woman, child, teenager, they're left alone as much as is possible. So the filter for the Israel Defense Force is this person a terrorist? On the other side of the line, the filter for Hamas, who's trying to play the victim on the world stage, and I'm sorry to say, somewhat successfully these days. Maybe you've seen that in the headlines, depending on where you get your news. Their question isn't, is this person a threat? Is it a terrorist? Their question is one, is this person a Jew? Whether they're a newborn baby, whether they're an old woman, whether they're a Holocaust survivor, in IDF uniform, innocent civilian, it doesn't matter. They are about the destruction of the Jewish people. And that's why, folks, and in your prayers, I want to encourage you, we need to pray for a swift, decisive victory. Because Israel is fighting a war, let me be very clear, for its own survival. And their enemy will stop at nothing as long as they exist until Israel is destroyed. So I want to ask you at the top of 2024, pray for a swift, decisive victory for the IDF, for the Israel Defense Force, as they defend the Jewish homeland, and try to stop the victimization of Arab and Palestinian peoples by an Islamic jihadist terrorist regime called Hamas. And I also want to ask you even more specifically, as you're committed to standing with Jewish believers in Jesus, wherever they are in the world, to pray for believers in the Israel Defense Force. You know, many are in special combat units, they're leading squadrons, they're leading platoons, they have tremendous influence, and they're making decisions of tremendous import and consequence right now. So pray for them for wisdom, pray for them for discernment, and pray that the Lord would raise them up like cities on a hill that cannot be hidden, just like Yeshua said, so that they would shine the light of the Lord brightly, even in darkest times in Israel. We'll keep you updated as the war drags on, now over 80 days in and counting. It's not going to end soon, but we pray that it will end successfully and that the jihadist terrorist threat will be eliminated. Pray with us to that end, and thank you so much for continuing to stand with Israel.